Hello, my beautiful ones. Sorry it's been a while. I've been a bit busy. I work a lot of hours. I'm lucky to have 1 to 2 days to myself most days. But today is not about that. Today is July 4th, which in America, that means Independence Day. Because our forefathers won our independence from the British back in 1776 on July 4th. So we, to this day, almost 300 years later, still remember it as the one of the most important holidays of the year. I mean, there are a lot of important holidays. I'm not saying there's not. But the ones that remember our fallen and those who have made our country to what it is today are always important. Memorial Day, July 4th, Labor Day, Veterans Day. In all these days, we always remember those who have worked so hard to keep this country where it needs to be, free of control of all other countries. Yes, Britain is now our ally, yes. But there was a time when they were our enemy. And today is how we remember the fact that we are no longer enemies, but under our own jurisdiction and our own command. July 4th is full of things. Many people know it's about family, sticking together, fireworks, and all this stuff. But sometimes they seem to forget the real reason we have this day. Honestly, I have never forgotten. I don't think a lot of people would. But it has kept us very busy. Today was chaotic for a lot of people. And ironies of all ironies, today is the birthday of my J-Rock king, Gat Kamai. He is 45. Exactly 10 years and 2 months older than me. Yeah, when I first saw his birthday, I was quite surprised by it too. I thought it was pretty funny. But other things about this day that I remember well this was also my first day of boot camp 11 years ago, when I went in July 4th of 2007 to join the Navy. It's not a date you really forget. I was up for 36 hours straight, tired as all get out, barely able to get 5 hours sleep by the time we were done. Because the first day of boot camp, all it is you're going through the stores, you're going through the clothing area where they have uniform part, like stuff stored up for you. Because in boot camp, everything has to be uniform, though you don't really have a uniform just yet. We had to get all the undergarments, the plain art undergarments. They couldn't have any decoration. Plain undergarments, PT shorts, PT shirts, socks, that typical kind of thing that is necessary for, just being normal boot camp. Because in boot camp, most of the time, if we're not out and about marching in our then utilities, which are no longer used in the Navy now that we have blue digital camis. But back then, when I first started, we had utilities, which were pale blue shirt, dark blue pants with our names on them. But most of the time, if you weren't out in the crowd, you were in your area, you were in your barracks room in your PT gear. Like I said, that one day, and not to mention that was also the day we got a huge amount of shots in our arms. And I do mean a lot of shots. I'm talking like 6 to 9 shots in each arm. Because it kind of like you walk through this thing where you've got one person here, one person does this set, one person does the other set. It was quite entertaining, honestly. It didn't bother me, of course. Needles don't scare me. When they were talking to me and I felt I was feeling nauseated and stuff, they thought it was because of my fear of shots, which no, that was not what it was. The reason I felt sick at that time was because I was hungry and my acid reflux had begun to show itself not more than a few months before I entered the service. So when I wasn't eating when it wanted me to, I would get nauseated. I also got to a point to where I couldn't go to the bathroom. So my stomach got upset. And they put me on SIQ, or sick in quarters, for 24 hours while my body cleaned out. When you go to boot camp, everybody has different reactions. But yeah, the first day was really hard. We went from staying in a 5-star hotel, we were comfortable, we could do whatever we wanted, to being under the watchful eye of everybody, having to follow the rules, follow command, do what everybody else did. They taught us how to make our beds properly, how to fold our clothes properly, all that bounce the quarter off the sheet crap, which, believe me, I never could get that down. The clothes I got down in time, but now if you ask me, I couldn't tell you. I wouldn't remember it all. Thing is, also, 4 years later, on July 2nd, is when I left the service. So I left 4 years after entrance, but I also was 2 days sooner than expected. I was expecting to leave exactly on July 4th, the way I entered. But no, that's not the case. So July 4th holds a lot of meaning for a lot of people. Some have different meanings. Like for me, it's the anniversary of my first day in boot camp, when we had to take care of all these weird ass details that nobody really remembers. Don't ask me. They teach us all that stuff, yet we get in the fleet and none of it's of any use to us. All that proper folding and this and that, bounce a quarter off your bed crap. When you get into the fleet, it no longer matters. I mean, yeah, when they do inspections on your room has to be clean. You have to have your bed made. All crap that doesn't need to be outside, all the crap that doesn't need to be in view, you had to keep under or in something. Like, if you had cleaners, you had to keep them under your sink, your bathroom sink. If you had, say, computer, books, or any of that stuff, you had to hide them in your closet, or in the case of my computer, I usually hid it underneath my pillow when I wasn't in my room. We had to make sure all the dust was gone, that everything was clean. There were no mildew stains or nasty stains anywhere. So, believe me, I never understood why they taught us that crap in boot camp when in the end we don't really do it. Another thing about July that's very memorable. July, we went to Vegas in July a couple of times. And that's when I got to see awesome stuff like Phantom of the Opera on stage, the Bite musical I told you about the topless vampires, which the only reason I even went to that was because it was my brother Basler's way of getting back at me for making him go see the Chippendales. But also, at the time, I was with someone who was very important to me. I mean, we weren't in that kind of relationship where boyfriend, girlfriend, or any of that stuff. We were lovers for whenever we had time or whenever our schedules allowed. He was a good person and also probably one of the best people I know. Well, not the best, but he was a decent man. So July also holds those memories. Vegas was awesome in its power, and being with him at the time was awesome. He was good to me, treated me as sweetly as you pleased. So July holds a lot of memories. It isn't just about this, or it's not just about Independence Day. It's about every memory you make on this day, whether that includes family or friends. I remember one July 4th, my best friend Chris took me and my brother up to St. Charles to see the fireworks there. He always promised me he'd take me back because they had a bunch of historical buildings that I would have loved to look at and learn about. at the time, I think the most memorable thing about that, besides the fact it was the first time I'd ever seen fireworks in Missouri, was also the fact my best friend was on crutches at the time because he'd broken his leg. So, but he was the one driving me and my brother around, taking us to go see the fireworks and just spending time with us. And that was probably one of my best memories. I have other memories too. When I lived in Bethalto, my brother and I went up to uptown where there was a large open field where they threw fireworks out on Independence Day or a day before, depending on what they were scheduled. My brother and I would sit in Bethalto, just sit up there. We could even sit at the Dairy Queen in Bethalto and just watch the fireworks go off. That was just that easy. I also, during the time I was with Stacy and her kids, my sister, fireworks were going off all over the place. Those going off over the river, those people setting off in their yards. Me and the kids would just sit out on the front porch of the house and just watch them. Because we didn't have to go anywhere. We could see most of them clearly. It was pretty easy to see them clearly. Because, I mean, yeah, there was a lot of trees blocking us, but for the most part, we got to see some of the more awesome ones, including the ones over the river, the Alton fireworks. You know, July 4th, well, there are other memories. When I was a teenager, a kid, Lonnie, my first stepfather, my mom, used to take us up to the Legion, Jerseyville Legion, my hometown Legion. They also have fireworks every year above the fairgrounds. So we would go up and sit in the nursing home parking lot that was right across from the fairgrounds and just watch them go off. You could have sat anywhere in the lower back end of Jerseyville and watched fireworks, even from your own front yard if you had a house in that area. That's other memories that go with us. You know, memories are made throughout all our lives. And July 4th holds many for me, as I'm sure it holds many for you. But like I said, the main point of Independence Day is to celebrate the fact that we have the freedom to do all these things that we do. Like me being able to talk to you on YouTube, say whatever I want, or do whatever I want. Because people sacrifice their lives to make it possible for me to do this. You know? And it's not just those who won our freedom 300 years ago. It's also those in the present couple of centuries who have kept us independent. All our soldiers that at one point in time have served in the military, doesn't matter which branch, they all were serving the same purpose, protecting our country and keeping our freedom. That is what July 4th is all about. Yeah, spending time with family is a plus. Spending time with friends is a plus. But it's when you remember the real reason why we have it, that's when it's really most important. Speaking of family, family, by the way, is not always blood, and blood is not always family. And if you don't know what I mean with that, let me explain. I have 3 dads and 4 moms. You're wondering how that's possible. Okay. My dad is married to Sandy, my stepmother. There's mom number, and then, well, first you've got my own mother, the one who gave birth to me. That's mother number 1. My stepmother, who my dad is married to, is mother number 2. Mother number 3 is my best friend's mother, Jane. When I was 13 and became Chris became best friends with me, his family pretty much adopted me. So I became an honorary, well, I won't mention their last names, but I became an honorary member of the family. Chris's stepmom, Carolyn, is my 4th mother. For the 3 dads part, I've got my own blood father, my stepdad, and my best friend's dad. I called my best friend's mom and dad, or mama or dad. You know, because I am an honorary member of the family. And I have no blood connection whatsoever to that family. Family is not just those you're born to, it's those you create or those you bring into your life. You know, the Springers Sorry, I did mention that. I wasn't supposed to do that. But they did bring me into their lives, and they have always treated me like one of their own. They have always treated me like another daughter to the family. There was a time when I was down on my luck and I needed a place to live. They gave me a place to live. My best friend's dad and stepmom took me in for a few months while I got on my feet and figured out what I was going to do with the rest of my life. I was about 22 at the time. They were there for me in times when things were going wrong or in times when I was just there. The boys and I grew up together, hanging out pretty much any free chance we had. Going to the movies, running down creeks, going on dirt roads, country roads, just having fun, tromping through the woods, going to bonfires. We did all this interesting stuff together, all this fun stuff. As far as I'm concerned, they are my family. And it doesn't matter I carry no blood within them. It doesn't matter I'm not married to one of their members. It just matters that I love them, they love me, and there's no getting around that. That's the way family is. It's not always made of a bloodline. Sometimes those who are of your bloodline don't really act like family. I don't have anyone like that in my family. Pretty much everybody on every side of the creek, so to speak, loves my family, loves us, loves each other, and we take care of each other and back each other up when it's necessary. There are many times the women in my family have had to help other people in our family. Like when one of my aunts was down on her luck and was having some bad things going on, it was me and my cousin who interfered. In my family, you might as well say our family's matriarchal, because pretty much every female in my family is the one who does everything. We're the ones who figure out ways to get other members out of trouble. We figure out ways to help other members if they're down on their luck or if there's something bad is going on, and we try to help. That's mostly matriarchal. My grandmother is the leader, of course, but unfortunately she's very sick with dementia. So right now, and my aunt, who is my oldest aunt, she's very sick herself. So my mother has basically become the leader among our family. My mother, my cousin, my cousin's daughter, those are the three that have pretty much taken over running the family and making sure we find out what's going on all over the place when things go wrong. Like there were rumors a couple weeks back that my aunt had died, and both her sons believed them. I'm like, no, she's fine. She's in a nursing home, but she's very much alive. So when something goes wrong in my family, it's the women who take care of things, because mostly that's all we have in our family on my mother's side is women. I have one uncle, but he kind of makes himself scarce, like severely scarce. Even on holidays, he tries his best to be invisible or disappear completely. But that's the way our family rolls, though. When one member is in trouble, we all step up. If we know we can help, we will step up. If we can't do it ourselves, or if we're in our own position where we can't do anything, we talk to someone who can do something. That's just the way this family rolls. That I got lucky with my family, for all of them to love me so much and to love everybody so much. I got lucky with my best friend's family. I know for a fact to this day, if something ever went wrong or something bad happened to me, both my family and my best friend's family will be right there to help or be right there to find out what's going on. I know, matter of fact, a couple of my friends have beat up a couple of my ex-boyfriends before, or gotten their faces and yelled at them for treating me the way they treated me when they treated me wrong. Like I said, family's not always blood. As far as I'm concerned, I'm honoring memory of their family, and they will back me up if it's necessary. That's just the way we are. We grew close. When you grow up together starting at 13, you form a bond. Me and my best friend have an extremely strong bond. That's why even after 22 years, we still do everything we can to talk to each other when we've got a minute. I just spent last Friday with my best friend and his daughter who was having a birthday party. I hadn't seen either one of them in 4 years. 4 years. because I'd been in college and he'd been moving around. She had moved to Florida. So by luck would have it, I just managed to get a ride up to his home, the home he has with his fiance in Greenfield, Illinois. First time, like I said, I'd seen either one of them in 4 years. And believe me, I missed out on a lot. My niece Jade was telling me about so many different things. And I'm like, oh my God, she grew up on me. She's even taller than I am. And her brother, Brennan? Oh, dear Lord. That boy's like 6'4". Makes his aunt feel like she's like a really short girl. And I am short, yes, but he makes me feel even shorter. And I'm the aunt. But I got to see all of these people that I had not seen in a while, and I got to meet a few new ones that I'd never met before. Like I'd never met my best friend's fiance before, Beth. I'd never met her before. This was my first time meeting her and all her kids, and my first time meeting my best friend's youngest daughter, Abby, who's only 3. I knew about her birth, but I had never once laid eyes on her until that day. She's 3 years old. See, that's what happens sometimes, though. Because of our bond, even though we were separated for 4 years, we still did our best to figure a way to see each other and talk to each other. Even when we were traveling around and we were away from home, we'd find ways to talk to each other, whether it was by phone, Facebook, or whatever it is we could reach each other by. That's what a best friend's for. I ran into his dad and stepmom at college a few years back. I hadn't seen them in a while either at that time. And it's been about 4 or 5 years since I saw them too. Because I was at Lewis and Clark still working on my associate's degree when I first saw them visiting the college for a friend's concert. I hadn't seen either one of them in at least a couple years then, and now like 5 years now. I hadn't seen my best friend's mom, Janie, in about 5 years because I was moving around all the time, trying to go to school, trying to get my life together. So, life is chance. You meet people who become friends, and then you meet friends who become family. That's the way you roll. Blood doesn't always matter. It matters what your heart says. That's as far as I'm concerned. I love every single one of my friends. I am not family to them, but that never mattered to us. What matters is that we're there for each other when we can be. And we learn to love each other and watch over each other and try to be there when we start falling apart. I have done my best to keep my friends from falling apart. And if they do fall apart, I try to put them back together. Because I don't like seeing anyone suffering. I don't like seeing my friends hurt. I don't like seeing people going through terrible things because someone else caused a lot of bad things. I don't like any of that. It upsets me. When you hear stories and things that you don't like and that upset you, you just want to fix them automatically. At least I do. When something is wrong or I think something is wrong, I want to automatically fix it because I don't like seeing anyone having a bad time. But life is full of chances and destiny and all that jazz. What I mean is everything happens for a reason. The people are in your life for a reason. Some leave your life for a reason. Meetings are not always coincidental. They were meant to happen and destined to happen long before your birth. Most of you may not understand what I mean by that, but I'm a firm believer in fate, destiny, and soulmates. Soulmates, there's someone out there for each of us, the other half of us. We're the same soul, but in 2 bodies. And when we get together, our soul is complete, and we're supposed to have an everlasting love or friendship. That is a soulmate. Destiny. Everybody has a reason for being in this world. Everybody. Even the worst of people have a reason for being here. We are never born without reason. And we were never born by accident. Our birth was intentional, even if it was an accidental pregnancy or an unexpected one. We were born for a reason. There is a reason why we exist in this world. That is destiny. Not all of us find what our destiny is. We try, but life gives us a lot of roads to follow. Fate. You are fated to meet others who are either going to stay in your life or they're going to leave. Some of them come in as forever friends or forever part of your life. Others come in as lessons to learn. I know that a lot of the people that I've been around came into my life not by accident, but by fate. And those who left my life by fate, they were supposed to. Whatever lesson they were supposed to learn, or I was supposed to learn, when it is done, we took our separate paths and we went our own way. Fate, not everybody believes in it, but I do. There has to be a reason I exist. In my feeling, I think I exist because I'm meant to help people, even in the smallest, most unimportant ways. You know, and anytime, you know, you've got to think of it this way. What would have happened if you had not been there? What would have happened? What would it not have happened if you'd been there? Now, for instance, when I've had to talk my friends out of suicide more than once, what would have happened if I hadn't been there? Their path could have gone a very different way. Anytime someone chooses to take their own life, they disrupt fate. They destroy their own destiny because they took it out of the heavens' hands and took it into their own hands. Whereas everything that was planned for you, you disrupt because you destroy yourself. The universe goes out of balance when somebody takes their life when they're not supposed to. I know it does make sense to a lot of you. It's probably a bunch of cosmic mumbo jumbo, most likely to you. But the simplest way to put it, we all have a fate. We all have a fated person that we're supposed to be with, or at least supposed to stay with for the rest of our lives, whether it's a relationship, a friendship, or a family member. We all have a destiny, a reason for existing. And anytime you take your life, free will is a devil. You take your life, you're disrupting your destiny. You destroy it. So the universe goes unbalanced for a few minutes before it turns itself right. Because one small event can change an entire road of events. Like, what would have happened if I had not gone with my first love the night of my senior prom? What would have happened if I had made a choice to be with someone else? And what would have happened if I'd fallen in love with someone else instead? What if I had not taken the choice I made with him and made it with someone else? That one event could have turned my entire path around. If I had chosen not to go into the Navy, what would have happened? I certainly wouldn't be in the position I am in now, which is working a full-time job, a college education, and more knowledge than even I want half the time. One small thing can change an entire world of events. And it may not seem that way, but it will happen. And you just get out of the cosmic plan. But as I was saying, we all have a destiny and a fate. We're all meant to be here. So during those times when you feel like you're not supposed to be here, don't. Because you are supposed to be here. There is no reason you can't be. Now, I'm going to say goodbye for tonight, my beautiful ones, as I'm very tired and I'm still working on getting my laundry done. But I do wish all of my Americans, soldier, veteran, civilian, it matters not. Thank you for what you have done for this country. Thank you for keeping the freedom that this day stands for. Happy Independence Day, my beautiful ones. And remember, be you. Don't be anyone else. Love yourself. Never change for anyone. Never let anyone